how open are you to the people around you? Are you afraid of your own vulnerabilities? Oftentimes we live in a society where we are very much protective of our image, and so we have difficulty in being able to open up, being able to be honest about our faults and our flaws. One of the things that really help people to connect with you, people around you to trust you, is for you to be able to be honest about yourself with the people that are around you. We find a beautiful example from the life of Umar radiallahu anh, when at one time the companions are waiting. It is Friday, and they're waiting for him to come out to pray Salatul Jum'ah, to give the khutbah, and they're waiting and they're waiting, and he's nowhere to be found, and he comes really late. You can imagine, the khatib in your masjid shows up late. And me as a khatib, I've been late, a few times at, over the last several years at different masjids. And he comes in, and when he gives his khutbah, he's so honest. He says, I only had one cloth and I had to wash it, so I had to wait for it to dry, and so that I can come up and stand before you. Can you imagine? Omar is, radiallahu anh, he is the Amir al-Mu'mineen, he is the leader of, 1/3 of the world. And here he is being so honest and frank about the fact that he was late to this weekly sermon because, he had to wash his clothes, because he only has one pair, or one good pair, which he wears for Jummah. And so that one is dirty, and so he has to wash it and we'll wait for it to dry. Sometime you go late to a masjid, and maybe you went late to the program because it was your fault. It was my fault because I got distracted with something, or maybe I woke up late. But I don't say that when I'm in the front. I come up, I say, the traffic, or just I'm glad we were able to join, right? And sometimes not being able to be honest and open and frank about our mistake or our shortcomings, we feel vulnerable inside. As amazing is that studies show that people, and you shouldn't do this because you want people to like you, but people like you more when you can show your human side of you. Not that whole perfect, never wrong, because on Instagram you're perfect, because your pictures are perfect, you have no pimples, your filters are on point, right? And your life is perfect, because on Facebook and your Twitter, and you always seem to be having a lot of fun, you have a great social life, you seem to always be getting good grades, you seem to always be getting better jobs, and your business always seems to be doing well. And so we, in front of people, we put up this false image. That doesn't mean have dignity. Don't go around saying, I have this flaw, that flaw, and just make a list and say I'm horrible, I'm garbage, and that's not the point. But to be able to be honest and frank, to be able to the world, be okay with who you are. Not being this vulnerable inside. I have to put up this image, I have to put up this front, I have to be this perfect. Even as I'm making the video, at times the brother who's doing the video, at times he cuts certain things, right? Because I might make a mistake, or I might repeat something, or I might stutter for a second, and we cut because we want to make the video good, and we want to make sure that we get as much clarity and we get to the point. But it brings, and that's for video, that might be okay. But in real life, live your life like you're making video all the time. When people that are closest to you, especially people that are closest to you, in your team, and just people around you, you want to be able to be honest and frank and open. It was very interesting that John F. Kennedy, the historians, they say John F. Kennedy, he was a pretty popular president. But after the Bay of Pig, the failed invasion of Cuba in 1961, his popularity actually went up after his whole debacle with the CIA trying to do this failed invasion of Cuba. Imagine, why would his popularity go up and he had a failed invasion? Because up until that point, people thought John F. Kennedy was perfect. And he got on national TV and he said, I messed up. He took responsibility. And so people saw the human side. So when people see the human side of you, they become more comfortable. As in fact, studies show that lawyers, at the beginning of their argument, if they point out the flaws and the shortcomings in the argument, the case they're going to make to the jury, and then they make the strong points at the end, the jurors trust them more, because they pointed out, look, this evidence we have, there's some weakness in our evidence, but overall we feel that we have the right person here, and he is guilty, or he doesn't commit the crime. And so being able to be vulnerable, being able to show your the raw self, especially the famous hadith, you could imagine that al-mu'min mir'atu, believers are like mirrors, and I share this hadith in many of different videos that you have probably watched, and here I'm going to show you a different angle. Al-mu'min mir'atu, al-mu'min, believers are like mirrors. When you stand in front of a mirror, you're not afraid. You're okay to show your bare, naked self. And so find people in your life who you can show your real raw self. You don't have to put up this image in front, and that will help you to be a genuine person. Genuine. And of course, that doesn't mean you take away your dignity. Doesn't mean, as Allah says, if you've made a mistake, you cover your flaw. You don't go going around telling your sins. Of course, if Allah forgive you for your sin, you don't go around publishing your sin. Of course, but at the same time, don't try to be perfect in front of people. That doesn't make for you to be a good communicator. Good communicators are honest, genuine, frank. They're able to show their weakness and show their strength. Be genuine people, and you'll be amazingly more connected to people. People will trust you more, and you'll be able to actually get more things done. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.